Yeah, we probably should have seen this one coming. Shortly after the airing of 200, a post was made on the website Revolution Muslim, which was known for its extremist and fundamentalist Muslim views, often praising acts of violence committed in the name of Islam. The post read as follows: "We have to warn Matt and Trey that what they are doing is stupid and they will probably wind up like Theo Van Gogh for airing this show. This is not a threat, but a warning of the reality of what will likely happen to them." The post included a photo of Theo Van Gogh after he was killed by a Muslim extremist. Theo was a Dutch filmmaker who had previously made a documentary surrounding the violence against women in some Islamic societies. The post also included the addresses of Comedy Central's New York and Los Angeles headquarters, South Park Studios, and even a Colorado home owned by Matt and Trey, stating, "You can contact them or pay them a visit at these addresses." So basically the post said, listen, this is not a threat, and we're not encouraging anything, but we killed this dude for a pretty similar reason, and if we're looking at history, I mean, there's a pretty good chance something similar will happen to you guys, so fellow extremists viewing this post, do with this information what you will. Oh, and here is a list of all the possible places they could be at any given time. Again, this isn't a threat per se, just letting you guys know. Sincerely, Extremist Group. When this post was made, it was
Did you say no
by
more
major
links?
news outlets around the
Are you a
world.
worm?
This was the first
Are you a
time something like
worm
this
through
had happened in
time?
the US,
All
and
here.
with it being a show
Copy
as
of a
popular
copy
as
of a
South Park,
copy of a
media
copy of a copy
absolutely
of
ran
an
away with it.
orange peel.
Major news organizations like CNN and ABC were discussing the possibility for violence and looking deeper into the story. CNN had actually interviewed the man who made the post a year before, where he claimed that he is not encouraging violence of any kind. In the same interview, he also said that the 9/11 attacks were justified, so yeah. I mean, it definitely doesn't seem like the things he says are encouraging violence. He's just praising those who do commit violence, so I mean, that's like totally different. Regardless, this post was a really big deal, and as next week's episode was getting closer, people wondered what the show would do. Would they give in to the terrorists out of fear for their lives, or would they stand their ground as a protest against them?
I'm sorry, how did they know about the episode before it aired? How did everyone know about the episode? Trailer? It was a two-part, right? It was the two-part, and they watched the first part.
Acts of
That's
terrorism.
how.
Well, in true South Park fashion, Matt and Trey did not care. They still planned on creating the episode exactly as they planned it initially, including Muhammad. In their
Click
minds,
this
to give
one
into these
first.
threats would be the ultimate hypocrisy, since the entire
Right,
purpose of
but
these
no further
episodes
links.
was to stand against the use of violence to censor those who think differently. They were meant to be statements about the importance of free speech and how giving into terrorism even once will encourage others to do the same thing for the things they disagree with. In their minds, making the distinction between what is okay to make fun of and what isn't okay is a slippery slope with potentially dangerous consequences. So, Matt and Trey had made their stand, refusing to give in to the demands of terrorism and attempting to cross lines that had never been crossed before, even if it cost them their life. They were not going to back down. The only problem is, Matt and Trey don't actually control what airs. That's Comedy Central's job. And well, let's just say they had different plans in mind. On April 21st, 2010, part 2 of the 200th episode special would air, simply titled 201. We are right back where we left off, with the Gingers demanding to see. Wait, why can't I say? Well, that's because Comedy Central decided they didn't agree with the messages Matt and Trey were trying to put out and gave in to the demands of the terrorists. So, when the episode was aired, anytime they would even say the name of the prophet of the Muslim faith, it was censored. Not only that, but all images of were completely censored from the episode. So much censoring was done that if you hadn't seen the first part, you would have no clue who they were even talking about. So, Comedy Central did exactly what Matt and Trey had begged them not to do and officially made the distinction of what is okay to make fun of and what isn't. So that sucks, but I guess I still have to summarize the episode so that we can better understand what the messages were supposed to be. Also, the story does not end at the airing of this episode, so stick around for the equally crazy things that happened after this episode. So, the Gingers are demanding to see and the town agrees to let him out of the suit. As it turns out, he was never in the suit, and it was really Santa Claus the whole time, because if they were going to give him to someone while being completely hidden, of course they weren't going to put the real one inside. We also get a quick cameo from Mr. Hanky. We cut to the super best friends who hear of trouble at Casa Bonita, which is another callback. Mecha Streisand is on the loose and destroying everything in her path, with Casa Bonita being a victim of the destruction. Then, Cartman arrives at the genetic lab to meet with Mephisto, the man who did the paternity test for Cartman back in Season 1. He's there to get the truth about his father once and for all. Then we go back to Mecha Streisand, who's still terrorizing the town when she... Oh. I think this is my favorite episode. Anyways, Stan and Kyle meet up with Kenny, who is hiding the real... As previously mentioned, he is completely censored and doesn't say anything. They come up with a plan to satisfy the needs of both the Gingers and the celebrities. They need to go to Mephisto's lab. The super best friends show up and take on Mecha Streisand, however, their powers are no match for hers. Meanwhile, Stan, Kyle, and Kenny arrive at the lab with... They ask Mephisto to clone him so that both the celebrities and the Gingers can have him. The super best friends radio back to Moses to ask for help in coming up with a plan to take down Mark.
Too long. Do not read.
Foreign trolls are constantly commenting.